Lovely. So I'm just going to get started just to remind you, we are recording now. So enjoy, everyone. But yes, welcome to this virtual panel featuring the wonderfully talented and inspirational Dee Wallace. I'm Paul. I'm just going to be helping support as we go along. We've got other people from the City of Angels Women's Film Festival here. But I'm just going to throw over to Lisa K. Crosato, the founder and artistic director and producer of the festival. Just going to have a chat. Again, if you've got questions, put them in the chat and I'll just pick on you and we'll just get this conversation going. So I want to hand over to Lisa.
Well, thank you very much, Paul, and thank you for facilitating this. This is really exciting. I'm really, really excited about this virtual meeting. Yes, so one of the big broad questions I'd love to start with, Dee, is how did you start your career? Was there one event that you can point to, or series of events?
The short answer is I was born. You know, my mother was an actress in community theater, and she directed all of the religious plays in our church. And she would every Christmas and every Easter do a 30-minute, what we would call a monologue. They were called readings. That people from 4 states would come to see my mother perform. I remember the moment I was sitting there. I was around 8 years old in my pew, looking around at all of these adults that were crying.
Oh my God.
And so moved about what my mother was doing. And I went, oh, I want to do this. I want to move people like this. It was, I think, that moment that really solidified it. But, you know, we were very, very poor. And so my mom and dad got me started in modeling. I think I was probably 2.
Oh my goodness.
And I have a picture of it somewhere in the house. And I'm holding this little ball. And then the next one was, it's called The Little Refugee. And they put a black shawl over my head. So anyway, I was kind of groomed to do this. And my mother bartered her secretarial skills to get me dance lessons. So that I could. So, you know, both my parents were incredibly creative. My dad was an entrepreneur. Unfortunately, he turned to the bottle when I was pretty young and became a very severe alcoholic that committed suicide.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
So, you know, I'm a real dichotomy, you know. I was raised with all this joy and all this love and all this drama and trauma. And I think that's what serves me so well as an actor. I hope I answered your question.
You more than answered it. And I think the actors on the panel, and I know there are several of us, would agree that the trauma and the pain is really something that you draw on when you're doing a deep role.
As long as you don't let it run your life.
Yeah.
It's great. You need to be aware of it enough so that you can call upon it in your acting and redirect it into happiness and power in your personal life. That's when the business and the acting come together successfully.
Wow.
So,
yeah.
Sorry, on that, Dee, I just wanted to ask, I know you trained as a teacher, is that not correct? That you
Yes, I have
education?
a teaching degree.
And then how did you migrate from teaching into acting? And then how did you leave where you were and either go to New York or Los Angeles?
Well,
what was that journey?
You know, I got a degree in theater education at the University of Kansas. And I taught a year. I've got to tell you this story because it's such a great story. In the library at the school that I taught at we would get the New York Times. And in the New York Times, there was an article by Hal Prince, who was at that time the biggest producer on Broadway. And he was looking for an unknown to star in A Little Night Music. So I wrote him this very cheesy letter. Gosh, do I wish I had a copy of it. And my brother's friend who shot pictures for the school newspaper came over and took a picture of me on my bed like this. And I sent it off to Hal Prince with, oh, Mr. Prince, just think, a newcomer from Kansas. 3 weeks later, which was when school was getting out for the end of the year, his secretary called me and said, Mr. Prince got your letter and your picture, and he would like to fly you to New York to audition.
Wow.
So this is how honestly I was raised, guys. Can't take Kansas out of the girl. So I said, oh, when does Mr. Prince need me? And she gave me the date, and I went, oh, what time? Well, we're not going to have auditions until 5 p.m. Oh, I said, that's so great, because I already have a flight coming in on that day, so Mr. Prince wouldn't have to pay for me.
Oh my God.
He would have paid first class probably and put me up at a hotel. So the day I arrived in New York, I took everything I owned, put it in a cab, said, hi, can you take it to this address, please? It all got there. And I went down to Rockefeller Center and got down to the last 5 girls in the acting and the dancing. And then his assistant said, well, Mr. Prince would like to hear you all sing. And I went, oh, I didn't know we had to sing. Said, well, dear, it is a musical. And he said, that's okay, honey, sing happy birthday. And the accompanist looked at me and said, what key? And I went, somewhere in the middle.
Oh my God, that's so funny. That's hysterical, you guys. Oh my God.
I thought I got down to the last 5 girls my first day in New York.
Oh, that's amazing.
That was pretty damn good, right?
It's chutzpah that, you're chutzpah.
That leads me to a message that I want to give everybody out there is take your shot. Everybody said to me, you're going to New York, you don't know anybody, nobody knows you. Why that you're sending a letter to Hal Prince and he's going to answer you. Everybody will want to caution you to keep you safe.
Right.
Do it anyway.
Yeah. Apologize later that you don't know how to sing, right?
Yeah, right.
And so did you stay in New York afterwards? Was that your kind of?
I did.
Yeah.
I moved there for 2 years, got down to the finalists for Equus, did a lot of, those touring shows for the products, industrials, we used to call them, because I was a great dancer. And so I ended up dancing my way across America as a Kugel peanut. I can still remember Kugel peanut with the googly eyes. And I ended up in LA and met a guy who had been in my acting class, and by the time I got out to LA, I had done like close to 400 commercials. I was like the commercial, I was straight out of Kansas. It was exactly what they were looking for back then. And so he said, look, you get me a meeting with your commercial agents and I'll get you a meeting with my theatrical agents. And we did, and we both got signed. And so then here's another great story. You couldn't get on the lots at that time, or now for that matter. So I did what we always do when we want to meet somebody in the Midwest. We bake cookies. So I baked a ton of chocolate chip cookies, wrapped them up in cellophane with these amazing bows on them, put them in my back seat, went to the guard gate, and I said, "Hi, I've got deliveries." He said, "Yeah, okay, go on through." So I spent the day going around meeting all the casting directors and leaving them chocolate chip cookies. And the last desk I came to was Reuben Cannon, who was the head of casting for Universal. He came out and he said, "Oh, chocolate chip cookies, they're my favorite. Come on in." So, you know, it was a better line to say I just got here from Kansas instead of I went through New York. So, yeah, I just got here from Kansas and this is my dream and blah, blah, blah. So he gets a call from the studio. The girl who's supposed to play the waitress with Barry Sullivan is sick. It's the next scene up. What should they do? He covers the phone. He looks at me and he says, "What size do you wear?" I said, "What size do you need?" He sent me down, and that was my first 5 lines with a movie star in LA.
Wow.
All because of cookies. See, so you just gotta just follow your heart and do, you know.
Go for it.
Don't let yourself or somebody else go, "What? What do you mean?" No, just go, "Yeah, I got the hit. I'm doing it."
And the passion you have, don't you think, Dee, that directors and producers and people in general connect to that passion and want to work with an actress that is as passionate as you are?
Well, doesn't everybody?
Well, right. But I mean, that's the difference is you went out of your way to be in front of them. And I think if if you have a choice, people always want to work with whoever is really passionate. And that's amazing.
And gutsy.
And gutsy, that's right.
They probably looked at me and said, "Well, we got to give this one a shot. Look what she's done." Yeah. Right. Yeah. So, oh my God, that was such a cheesy picture that I sent to Hal Prince. I would be so embarrassed if anybody saw it now.
Can I ask though, especially nowadays, I think many of us have probably been in the industry for a while, now that we've got, in the wake of Me Too, like how have things changed? I mean, I'm just, I'm envisioning you, this attractive young woman from Kansas in Hollywood. Casting couch, I'm sure, was an issue. I mean, was that
never?
Oh, good.
Never for me. But I was I never sold that stuff, guys. I was always America's mom before I became America's mom. I didn't sell the sex. I didn't, I knew that wasn't who I was. And those weren't the type of roles that I was made for. I knew that. I had one instance when I got to New York with an older producer. And I went up to meet with him and he went over and locked the door. And I turned around and I said, "Sir, I'm from Kansas. I don't do stuff like that. You might as well unlock the door because if you don't, I will. And I don't want to have to turn you into the union."
Bravo. So
he walked over, he opened the door, he said, "My apologies." I said, "Thank you, sir," and I left.
Yeah. Wow.
But I never thought I had to do that for a part, and I would have never done that for a part. I would have thought if I had to do that for a part, they didn't have very much respect for my talent or for my personhood, for that matter.
How do you see the industry? How do you see it change since you were in that?
Oh, dear gosh. In some ways for the good, in some ways for the bad. And COVID didn't help.
No.
You know, all this garbage about auditioning over Zoom or making your own tape. And, you know, it's a lot more convenient, but you're not one-on-one with them in the room. You can't feel the room. You can't read them. You can't ask questions. You can't ask for redirection. I don't like it. And I think in most ways, the industry for women has gotten a lot better. A lot more opportunities. Almost every time I go out now, I'm working for a female director, which is interesting.
Yeah.
I'm recurring on 2 limited series right now, both working with female directors.
Can you tell us about that? Because I was going to ask you about what you're working on.
Well,
now.
I can tell you about one of them. I'm on an NDA for the other one.
Okay.
But one of them is this amazing. I'm so excited about this. It's called A Deeper Look, and it's based on a true story. And it was very interesting. They just offered it to me. A lot of big producers involved. The director of the last Borat is directing it. And when they sent it to me, I just kept sitting there going, oh my God. Oh my God. I couldn't believe it. And I had an offer, isn't this the way it goes, for another really great series at the same time with an actress that I really adore. But something, I always trust my gut. And I think this A Deeper Look is going to get so much hype. I think the whole world's going to be going, oh my God.
But comedy, right, Dee? You're saying because it's the Borat. No?
Yeah, it's a comedy.
Okay.
And it's based on the most outlandish true story. You just won't believe it. And I've got, I think 7 or 8 films coming out. The first one is The Nix, which is a horror film. Shocker, huh?
Right, very shocking.
Yeah, and a couple of nice family films.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm, you know, I go out of my way, and my agent really goes out of his way, my whole agency, to make sure I keep doing diversified things.
Yeah. I have to ask you, because I just want to talk about Cujo for a minute. I think every actress, oh my God, I love you in the film. I love the film. I think it's
my favorite film of mine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm in love with the film. I think every actress wants in their career to have your role in Cujo, and your performance.
Don't you think?
Absolutely. I mean, I get chills because
yeah.
My husband Ron wanted me to ask you, how many days did it take you to shoot the scene in the car? How many days was that? No way. Really?
One. Yeah. That scene in the car, it was me and the stunt dog, the stunt man, and the stunt woman and the real dog. It's edited so unbelievably well.
Scary.
Yeah, I don't think we did more than 2 or 3 takes, if we even did that many. And I had begged my producer, Dan Blatt, I love you, Dan, to let me do it with a real dog. Those dogs were so well trained, you guys. There were 13 dogs that played Cujo, and 13? They were all trained to go after toys. So we had to tie their tails down in most of the scenes so you couldn't see them wagging. And yeah, they were 13 for 2 reasons. One, so we would not have to overwork any of the dogs. And 2, they were all trained to do different tricks. One was a jumper, one was a growler, one was a digger, right? So I
mean,
just want all the people out there that love animals to know that those animals were taken way better care of than I was.
oh, geez. I mean, how exhausting was that? You must have just been, I read that you were saying that your adrenals were just shot after that.
Yeah, I'm still on adrenal supplements. I probably will be all
Really?
my life. Yeah. And they treated me for exhaustion for about 3 weeks.
Oh my God.
After, because people don't understand when you see an actor in a dramatic role like that, your brain and your body chemistry, they don't know that you're acting. So your brain thinks you're actually in fight or flight for 10
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. And it affects your whole physicality and can really affect your health. I mean, look at what you went through, and there's the repercussions. I mean, but the performance was worth it. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it's my favorite film because I feel like Cujo asked me to go further than I even knew I could. And when I watch it, I think, wow, I'm really truthful in all the moments there. And it's hard in a film like that to really hold your ground in truth and not go overboard with the drama, and yet go to all the emotional places you would go to truthfully if you were in that situation.
Yeah. And the connection you had with the little boy, and that he was the two of you together
amazing.
Were sensational, Dee.
Yeah. So, and he was like working with another adult actor for me. I mean, I said, Danny, are you okay doing that scene where you have to choke? He said, oh, that happened to me when I was little. Watch. And he goes right into it. And I went, well, I'm probably not going to have to worry about this kid a lot.
No.
But, I would always talk about the scene that was coming up. Like if there was a dog attack at the window, I would say, okay, now, Carl has really trained these dogs well, and I'm here between you and the dog, and I would never, ever let the dog hurt you, Danny. So I went out of my way on every scene with him to really reassure him that he was okay.
And you could see the connection between the two of you. It was so, I believed so much that it was your son, and it was just, wow. Gives me a chill.
We still have that connection too.
Oh, to this day?
Yeah, as I do with both the boys from E.T. Yeah.
And you know what I do? I've spent time with Henry Thomas because I did a movie with his wife, Marie Zelke, years ago. So he's a lovely guy. And
yes, he is.
Did you stay in touch with Henry? Yeah, of course, you just said that.
Yeah, Henry and Robert and I do a lot of conventions together.
Yeah. Okay, nice. Everybody wants to know, if I can jump in with this question, what it was like to work with Spielberg.
Well, that's like saying, what's it like to work with a genius?
I know. But we still want to know.
But he's very childlike on the set.
Yeah.
At least he was on E.T. He loves what he does so much. It's like, oh, we get to play in the sandbox, right? He's a genius, I think, at working with kids and knowing how to get the best out of them. He would throw lines at them all the time to keep them off base, especially the two younger kids. And because the secret of working with children is to not rehearse and not get them into like a rhythm of doing the same thing, because you want them to be spontaneous and real, right?
Right.
Working with Steven as a director was effortless for me.
Yeah. I've met him. He's very, very nice. And I was very struck by how humble he is. seemingly like down to earth, not, there's not a stitch of arrogance, you sometimes, I won't, is very, very.
Yeah, he's not an asshole.
No, he's a sweet, sweet guy. Yeah. You said it. Yeah, exactly. I want to allow people to have some questions with Dee. I've spoken enough.
Good. Just while you're doing
I
that.
know, and I talk a lot, guys. So.
Oh no, that's great. But I heard a story about you cutting your hair before ET.
Oh God.
And yeah, so there we go. That's what I want to hear about.
Well, see, I had been doing a lot of independent films, and in independent films, a lot of times you get your own wardrobe together, you get your own look together. And besides, I channel my characters, guys. So when I read a part, I just see them. I just see them like that. And I could not see Mary, a working, harried mother with long, curly, really blonde hair. And it honestly never occurred to me to ask Steven, because I had always been responsible for it myself. So I went to the top guy in Beverly Hills and I explained what the movie was. And he came up with that great simple cut. And I think what Steven was worried about was if the hairdresser was going to be able to consistently maintain that, when you have long hair, it's easy, right? It's a lot easier to make it match. So yeah, that's why though, I just never thought about it. It's kind of like, oh, I didn't know we had to sing. And I'm smart. I want you to know I'm really smart. I was, really top in my graduating class, but it's just that naivete. And that's exactly why I got hired for ET, because he wanted everybody in the movie to be like a child. And he saw that quality in me. And so when ET came along, they just offered me the role.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Lovely. Now, if there are any questions people want to, just feel free to unmute yourself and just ask Dee directly. We've got a nice small group here, but I'm sure they've got plenty of questions. I think Renee's just unmuted herself. So let's hear from you,
I'm
Ray.
gonna try and type, but I would love to ask Dee, what kind of stories would you like to see coming now in the future, in the near future, emerging? What kind of stories would you like to see?
Good question. I would like to see more relationship films. I'm like over all the hero films, and how many can we have? But those are the summer blockbusters. Now I think you're going to start seeing a lot more relationship films, a lot more true drama films, because everybody's going to be rolling out for the critics and the Academy Awards now. And the only thing that the Marvels and all those, and there's certainly a place in our theater going for them, but yeah, that's what I would like to see.
Thank you.
Yeah, good question.
Good. I mean, I go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, I know there's a lot of questions in people's, don't be shy, guys, jump in with a question.
Yeah, please. I got so many stories, but you have to ask the questions to bring them up.
Well, I've got a quick one. Sort of, you talked about Cujo being a high in your sort of acting, experience. What about, I mean, you don't have to name the film or anything or the experience, but what about a low?
So many. I can't even remember the names of them, but it was interesting. I did this film. Don't ask me what the name of it is. I can't remember. No, it's not coming. With Tony Curtis at the very, very, very end of his career. And I loved the part. And I thought, oh my God, I get to work with Tony Curtis, you know, because I grew up on Tony Curtis when he was a really big movie star. And the first scene I did with Mr. Curtis, he had that old Hollywood magic, man. It was amazing. In the second scene, which we did like 3 weeks later, he'd gone back into his drugs and alcohol. Couldn't remember a line.
Oh.
And the film as a whole was just kind of a not pleasant experience. I mean, that's just one example. You know, guys, I try and go in and help new filmmakers. If I think they're talented and I think the script is good, I'll go in and do a cameo or a couple of days for them to help them get their film made, because they can get financing on my name, especially if it's a horror film. And sometimes that really pays off. And sometimes I go, oh my God, why did I ever do this? So, you know, I've got something like 267 film credits now. So you can ask any actor, in the course of their career, there's going to be some duds. You know, there just is.
I didn't get a chance to watch Popcorn, but we have a VHS tape of Popcorn, and I don't know, you know, do you remember that? Anything?
Oh, I remember Popcorn well. Yeah, we gosh, where did we shoot it? Down on, well, it was some little island, Jamaica, something like Jamaica. And we got down there and we were shooting in this theater, this live theater. Well, that's where all the homeless people stayed, in this theater. And nobody had gone in to clean it up. You walked in and you were knocked over by the smell of urine.
Oh no.
And filthy and dirty. And so then I started talking to the guys, because, you know, I have to be in this body cast. And I said, so talk me through, how are we doing the body cast? And they said, well, we're just going to put it on you that morning and take it off you that night. I went, really? How am I going to go to the bathroom? And their faces, oh yeah, we hadn't thought of that. I said, well, I think we got to think about that, guys, don't you? I got to be able to get out of that body cast, on top of which I have claustrophobia.
Oh,
so, which came from shooting a movie in Poland.
Oh, no.
So we figured out a way to put hinges on the body cast, so the body cast could open like this and I could crawl out.
Oh, wow.
You know, what does everybody think? I'm thinking about writing a book with the title around horror stories from the life and horror movies. What do you think?
I love it.
Do it.
Love it. That is a horror
I
story.
got a lot of them. I gotta, you know, the way we went, and thank God my husband was cast with me, Christopher Stone. And it was the first co-production between CBS and Poland. And it was during Solidarity, guys. So there was no food.
Oh.
I mean, I have a picture of me holding 2 bags of cornflakes like it was 2 bags of gold, okay? Oh. And one day we had to shoot in the bottom of these salt mines. And people in Poland with respiratory illnesses live in these salt mines. So we're going down, Christopher, my husband, is already down there shooting. And they said, okay, well, Dee, get in the elevator. The elevator was an open air wood shaft with one light bulb. Everybody crowded in, and I was the only one that spoke English. We got about halfway down, and the elevator went "Phadoom,"
Oh my
and
God.
dropped about 12 feet. Everybody started yelling. The light went out, and I couldn't understand what anybody was saying, right? By the time, I think it was like 10 minutes before they got it back working. By the time I got down there, I was hysterical.
Oh my God. Were you sobbing?
Hysterical.
Oh my God.
Yes, and screaming. And they went to get Chris, and Chris came over and said, honey, Papa, come on, come on. And finally, he just hauled off and smacked me one.
Oh, Jesus.
And I got so pissed off, I came out of it. But ever since then, I've had a little tiny bit of claustrophobia.
Well, then then Cujo, was that after that? That must have been even worse for you to have to take on that role in the car.
No, not really, because I could always get in and out of the car.
Yeah.
You know, I never felt like I couldn't get out. When I was in that shaft, there was no way to get out. I'm surprised that it doesn't bother me on a plane, but I always get the aisle seat.
I'm like that too.
If I'm next to the window, I get uncomfortable. And I know what's going on, you know.
I just want to talk. Can I just talk to you about claustrophobia just a little more? I'm also claustrophobic. I just have to ask you, like, I can't take the tube in London or the subway in the States or anything. Are you able to take?
Yeah.
You are? Okay.
Yeah, those don't bother me. Because I know that if I pull the thing, there's a way out.
Okay.
There's a way you can get out of those. That wooden shaft, there was no way I could. We were suspended in midair. There was nowhere to go except down.
Down to
Yeah.
hell.
Yeah.
Good. Sorry to interrupt. I just want, we've got some great questions coming through. So I just wanted to ask Juliet Landau, because she's got a few questions coming up here, what she'd like to ask Dee. So Juliet, in your own time, feel free to ask.
Hey, Jeanette.
Juliet, sorry.
Oh, Juliet.
Nice to
What
see
would
you.
you like to know, baby? Hi.
Off camera. I was interested. So, what personally makes a great director?
Someone who has a very clear vision, who knows exactly what he wants, and then is secure enough in himself that he will allow you to bring in all your creativity and everybody else's creativity also.
Wonderful.
All the great directors I've worked with, all of them, like the big dinner table in E.T., where Elliot says he's in Mexico with Sally. I get up and leave the table. That's not in the script. And Steven came over to me and said, Dee, why did you get up and leave? And I said, Steven, I felt all these tears coming up. And as Mary, I thought, I don't want my kids to see me cry. And so I had to get up. And in that moment, he got it. And he turned around and he told his crew, you got 30 minutes, build me a wall with a kitchen sink with running water. So he could take me over to that sink and then bring me back into that big close-up where I say, he hates Mexico, with the tears in my eye.
Oh, that's amazing.
That has happened with Peter Jackson, with Blake Edwards, happened all the time on Cujo. Half of Cujo was improv. It had to be. all the time with Joe Dante. Joe was so open and giving as a director. Really, really, really good directors. They always see the moment. I don't know if you guys remember the movie 10 with Bo Derek.
Yep.
It was my first really big studio movie. And I had finished this first scene with Dudley. And then Dudley just started playing the piano. And I was so moved by his playing that there comes the tears again. And Blake looked at me and said, everybody come back, bring the camera back, bring the lights back. We're going to get a big close-up of Dee listening to Dudley play. Happened in the moment. See, but a good director really gets them and understands them and expands on them.
Yeah, absolutely. I've had the same experience. Are you interested in directing?
Not at all. I'm not. I am. Directing for me comes from the other side of the brain that I like to live in.
Mm.
I don't like to figure things out. I freaking hate electronics, all the mechanical stuff. The world is much too complicated anymore, I think. I want a channel. I just want to bring in the information and become the person, right? I've directed several plays in my life. It's okay, doesn't rock my boat. And I sure as hell don't want to be a producer. Not unless I could produce, and I have produced, like we have a short film on, I think it's YouTube, called Stay Home, that we did just for all my horror fans during the pandemic. And a bunch of horror icons came, and we you know what we did? We sent a GoPro camera to everybody. And then my daughter, Gabrielle Stone, directed it. There's where she's going to be the director in the family. Directed it over the internet, and we had a great editor that put it together, and that's how we, but to have to deal with the money and 15 different opinions about what this piece of art should be, mostly from people that don't know anything about the art, but they're only involved in the money. I have no interest in playing in that at all.
One last question. So what was wearing the Rob Bottin makeup like on the Howling, and what was it like working with him on that?
Oh, Rob Bottin is the sweetest, gentlest, kindest, most creative person I think I've ever worked with. From the perspective of special effects. And I want to be very clear that the end Howling, the end werewolf, that's not me at all. That's an animatronic. For some reason, I had in my contract, I guess it was important back then, that my character would never appear as a werewolf. So I'm up doing Cujo, and Joe Dante calls me and says, Dee, everybody wants to see your character turn into a werewolf. I said, I don't care. I don't care at all. Sure, go for it. But could you make her a little more vulnerable because she's fought so hard against this? So they came up with this Bambi werewolf, which, if you know Joe's sense of humor, I'm sure he had a lot to do with that. Otherwise, it was 14 karat gold contacts and a little bit of hair right here.
Good. Thank you for those questions, Julia. And we've got
Yeah, those were great questions. Thank you.
we've got Nunzio has raised a hand. So yeah, Nunzio, go for it.
Hi, darling.
Hi, Dee. It's Nunzio. I don't know if you remember me. I remember you used to have these amazing showcases in Burbank. I think on Magnolia Boulevard that you used to invite me to.
Yes.
And I used to come down all the time and watch them. It's not so and a lot of people don't know that aspect of your career because you were, as I recall, so helpful with other actors and helping them
yeah.
get their careers off the ground. And I used to watch these amazing showcases. You'd have a packet for me. This is like all the people that are coming in today, and you'd give me their resumes and their photos and et cetera, et cetera. But
Yeah.
I just want to say, being there and watching that I always thought that was amazing. And we all knew you were an amazing actress that had come in to help others. And I'm just wondering if you want to talk about that.
I would love, that was Camelot in my life, that studio. I had one of the largest acting studios in LA for 18 years, and I taught every class. And it's interesting because in that studio, all my healing work was developed also.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I have such a place in my heart for all my students, many of whom I'm still in contact with today. Lots of them went on to have successful acting careers, and many of them went on to work in the healing arts because of the healing work that we did in the studio. It's so funny. I would have 6 auditors, and by the end of the class, 3 of them would go, "Oh my God, Miss Wallace, I'll do anything to study with you. I will do anything." And the other 3 will go, "Hey, it was nice, bye." Because we got so much personal information through my channel about where their blocks were, why they couldn't break through emotionally. One kid, I think he was like 6 lines or something into his scene. And I said, "Okay, stop there. What's your problem with relationships?" And his eyes bugged out and he said, "Well, I've been engaged 3 times and none of them went through." And I said, "Well, it's because your mom and blah and blah and blah and blah." He emailed me like 9 months later. "I just want to let you know I'm happily married to the girl of my dreams, and all the work that scared me to death that day was right on, and I've moved on in my life, and I wanted to let you know." So yeah, that studio and what happened in that studio and the relationships that were created, that was Camelot in my life. Yeah. Thank you so
Yeah,
much for
they were
asking
great.
about that.
No, yeah. Well, you're welcome. For me, it was just a great experience always coming down. I looked forward to your showcases. You'd invite me, I'd come down and I'd watch. So they were
Thank you.
great.
And you know, we were the first studio that put anything up on camera. Remember, we would have monitors so you could
I do.
watch
I
them.
remember
I
it.
thought, we're living in a film town, and everybody's showcase is asking all the casting directors and producers to watch these people live on stage. They should be seeing what they photograph like. So it was a
Right.
big expense, but we did it, and it really paid off. A lot of people got signed from those showcases.
Yeah. Well, as a fellow actor myself, I just want to say thank you for doing all of those for all of my fellow actors. It was great, and it was a great time.
Thank you. Thank you so much for bringing that up. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Very good. And on the acting thing, there was a question from Amanda about acting technique. Amanda?
Yeah. Hi, Dee.
Hi, baby.
So great to meet you. First, I want to say I love all the stories. I love nothing more than a great horror or embarrassing moment story from theater or film. So I think definitely write that book.
You
But
got it.
but my question is actually about acting technique. Is there one that you prefer? It seems like you're in
Oh,
the
yes.
moment, Meisner, and then you also teach. So is there other techniques that you teach?
No, I teach my technique. I studied with Uta Hagen, who is very brain-centered, breaking everything down. And I adore Miss Hagen. I have huge respect for her and my time with her. And it wasn't the right method for me. I studied with Jeff Corey and some other really great people. And then I found a man named Charles Conrad. And he changed my life. He changed my life and he changed my career. And his technique, he studied with Meisner and taught for Meisner, but then he refined it to an even more finite degree. And it is a definite technique. First of all, you can't have any ideas. So you can't have any ideas about how to play the scene. You come in, we would come into class, we were allowed to read it once and turn it over. Your subconscious gets it like that, right? But what that does is it doesn't allow your monkey mind to start screwing around with it. Then you get your energy really, really high, and I mean really high. And then you throw your energy. He would call it throw your energy onto your partner. Because what most actors do is it's all about me, what am I doing? And we pull out the back of our heads and we kind of watch ourselves audition or perform. When you do that on camera, the person on the other side of the camera can't connect to you. So I'm going to do it with you right now. Can you see my eyes clearly or is the light too bright?
No, I can see them. Yeah.
Okay. So right now I'm looking at the camera, but all my energy is held right here. But I'm looking right at you, aren't I?
Yeah.
Now I'm going to send you my energy. Now I'm going to pull it back. Now I'm going to send it. Can you see it?
I can feel it.
Yeah.
When you sent it to me, I almost backed off a little bit. And then when you pulled it in, you brought me in closer. Oh my God, chills. Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
So what that does when you're putting down an audition, which we all are now on Zoom or on our cameras or whatever, because you don't actually have the person there, you kind of look in the direction of the person, but you don't really connect.
Yeah, you kind of like see past them.
And so I put up Post-its. I've got 2 Post-its that I'm looking up on my light right now. Practice sending your energy to that Post-it.
To that Post-it. Oh, I am stealing this.
Pull it back and then, yeah. And the higher your energy, the better the audition.
Yeah, so you should like jump up and down and, just before, or is it just inner energy?
It's however you get your energy up. But if you jump up and down, then you want to focus it and then go into your audition.
Wow.
You also, if you ever find your energy low, and this applies to any thing in life. Start down at your feet and sweep up your body until your hands go above your head 3 times. You'll feel the aura of your energy rise up. It's
I'm
a
gonna try that
real,
this weekend with the film festival.
there's also a really great way to balance yourself. And again, good for life as well as acting. Tap over your ears. Find your thyroid, your indentation, and go 3 times. And then you take your fist, make a fist with your fingers facing towards you. And as you bring your hand toward your eyes, you pop your fingers open like a firework. That unswitches you, that balances you, and it gets your energy all in alignment.
I love it.
3
Oh, thank
really
you so
good
much.
techniques. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Right. Thanks so much for that.
Yeah, great question. Thank you.
Good. I just wanted to ask, just while we're on your kind of teaching and stuff, I know that you're now doing some conscious coaching, and it looks quite wonderful what you've been doing. I know you've been writing books on this and stuff, and yeah, I'd love to know. I mean, a lot of actors do a multitude of things. I'm similar to you, where I do a lot of coaching as well with people from all different walks of life. But I'm just curious as to how you got involved in that and how you still find time to do that.
I got involved through my studio, and their life started to change. Then their parents wanted to work with me, then their families, then their friends. Now I have clients all over the world. I'm a clairaudient channel. Now, I didn't know I was channeling in Charles Conrad's class, but in retrospect, that was what he was teaching us to do. So my forte is I can go into the channel and be able to tell a person where their blocks are, why they can't or aren't manifesting a certain thing that they want, what age, usually what person it started with, and how to redirect it. Because as we all learned in 5th grade, everything's energy. Energy has to have a direction, just like an actor. So the more you consciously are directing your energy to manifest what you want and match that up with joy and love, the faster you manifest what you want. So my last book, Born, Giving Birth to a New You, available on Amazon, is literally a formula for creating everything. This is the first step. This is the second step. This is right. This is what you have to have in alignment. And I'm a great testament to what I teach. I'm so busy. I'm trying to keep up with myself. My agent and I were on the phone for 40 minutes yesterday going, he called me and he said, Dee, between the acting jobs you have and your speaking and the cons and everything that you're doing, you just have to sit down and write out the next 2 months for me because I can't keep up with what you're doing. And, I'll be 74 in December. I'm filled with energy. Think I look pretty damn good. And, I just get up every day and say, today I'm aging younger and younger, and I'm filled with energy. And my intention is to be love and take love out into the world and magnetize love from everyone and everything back to me. And it's amazing how people show up in my life to help me, to love me, to support me, and how much I feel love for everybody. It's a good place to live,
That that I just would love to segue, because it's such a perfect prior moment to what we also wanted to do in this virtual meeting, which is to honor you from City of Angels Women's Film Festival with an Angel Award.
Oh.
And
Oh.
we love you, Dee, and we want to, from our hearts, collectively, we want you to have this because you're an inspiration to women, and that's what this award is about. For your extraordinary work as an actress and your inspiration to women in the film industry. And so on behalf of City of Angels Women's Film Festival, we're just so honored, because you're so generous with your time and your passions and your talent. And this is such a great joy to give this to you, and you'll have to let me know how we can get it to you, you know. But
thank you. I'm so touched. I'm really, really touched. And I think, you know, we all have a responsibility in this business to love and help others and put out good messages to the world. You know, we have to move out of all this judgment, guys.
yeah,
It's not serving us at all. And the more we can live in acceptance, in love, the more we communicate and the more we help one another. And for me, that's what life's about. Now you've got me all kerfluffed here. Thank you. It's really beautiful. It's really beautiful.
I don't know if you can see the engraving part of it. We actually had the date for the 4th and not the 1st because we weren't sure at the time if you would make it to the gala, but you know, everything else we've
Yeah, I'm so sorry. Like I said, if you saw my calendar, you would understand.
Oh no, we
But
totally
I'm glad we got to do this.
It's such an honor, you know, even to have this time with you, and you know, that you awarded us this time, because you know, a lot of people in your position will not make time to I don't want to be negative, I want to put it in the positive, that we just appreciate.
Well, their loss, right?
Exactly.
You know, this has been a beautiful time with people of like minds, and we grow together and we explore together. And if people don't have time to do that, I'm sorry for them.
Yeah. And you know, you speak to women, you inspire women, and the roles that you play are inspiring to us, because it's like you said earlier, you weren't doing just the sexy thing, even though you're a beautiful woman. You play complex, deep characters, and that's affected all of us.
Thank you. I like to use my full emotional life. I like parts that allow me to play big arcs and emotionally be able to truthfully express the human condition and what my characters are going through. And really, there's no genre that allows you to do it as much as the horror genre. And, you know, a lot of people put horror films down, but if you Google positive effects of watching horror films, you will be astounded at the positive things that horror films do for your brain and your psyche. Which is why every Disney picture has a bad, evil character in it, right? So that children can, in a very safe place in their own home, start dealing with their fears. Well, we're no different in a movie theater. We know we can always leave, right? But we get to sit there and take in these situations that we would never, ever want to live in, and start dealing with how we can create our lives so we don't have to. I just did a part where the last scene was me at my child's grave. And it was, I mean, I really had to go there. So I had to choose to go to that place where I would get the, here it comes, where I would get the information that I had lost my daughter. And I had to do it over and over and over. We're a strange bunch, actors, because we read a scene and we go, oh, I know that. I know the pain I would be in if I ever had to play that. I have to do this scene. Please don't ever let me have to do it in life. We're just a weird bunch that way, you know? And I think the honor for an actor comes from doing it truthfully, so that you can allow parents that have lost their children to have the right to grieve, have the right to feel and embrace that through you, but only if you do it truthfully. Anybody can cry, you know, anybody can cry, but to cry from a place of truthfulness of your heart, that's a whole different thing.
Thank you. I mean, I have no words. It's just it's beautiful what you said.
It's interesting what you're saying about the horror. How do you feel being so associated with horror films? Because I mean, I love them. I've been fortunate to produce one a few years ago. But how do you feel? I mean, I've got great sentiment towards horror films. I think they are a fantastic genre. How do you feel being so well associated with that genre of film?
I am absolutely fine with it. I am proud to be called a scream queen. You know, people that call me a scream queen are people associated with the horror industry. And then there's people that call me America's mom, the world's mom. They're associated with the family films, right? I think people that know me know I do it all. I have 2 really good situation comedies under my belt. I have films like Secret Admirer, where there's a ton of humor in it. So I like to go everywhere, and I really love to use, truthfully, my emotional life. Because I think you can, well, I'll give you a perfect example of how our work can change people's lives. A woman came up to me, tears down her face, and she said, Miss Wallace, I want you to know you're a part of a miracle in my life. And I went, really, sweetheart, how so? She said, my son is 10 years old and he's autistic. I've never heard him speak a word. And last week I took him to the re-release of E.T. And on the way home, he said every line that E.T. said in the film. To me, that's miraculous. Little boy, a young man in his 20s, came up to me and he said, Miss Wallace, I want you to know that I grew up in a very small town in the South. And when I was in junior high school, my parents got divorced. And even my best friends wouldn't talk to me. I was an outcast. And that summer, E.T. came out. And all of a sudden, it was okay to include me again. And I just want to thank you for being a part of that film. We just never know how we are going to touch the lives of people out there. I can tell you, I've received so many letters from people that watched Cujo that told me that it helped them get through a totally unrelated but very traumatic time with their child, and how they could come forward and protect their child and take care of them. You just don't ever know how you're going to touch people out there, but you just have to know you do.
And you've done it. And this is for you, Dee. This is for you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Good, good, good. Lovely. We're just going to the last 10 minutes or so. Are there any other questions people have for Dee?
Oh, somebody's typing.
Someone's typing. Yes, they are. Yes.
Cynthia's typing.
You've got better skills than me. I didn't know he was typing. How would you like to, I've got a question. How would you like to be remembered? He's had such a broad career, again, so many different genres, but also doing so many different wonderful things and touching people in so many great ways. How would you like to be remembered? I know we can't write our own memorial.
I would like to be remembered as someone who was loved and taught love in everything that she did. Who I am. I want to be love. And that's different than trying to get love or trying to give love. It's choosing to be love for no reason. And I can tell you that the more you take that love into anything you want to create, money, a healthy body, a new relationship, the faster you create it.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that. Good. Thank you again so much for your time. Lisa, do you have anything you want to add? I think we're coming to a natural close, and I don't want to take up more of Dee's time because it's been so fantastic just to hear all your stories.
I just have to say that I think this is the best Zoom meeting I've ever had in my life. So I enjoyed it enormously. It's been cathartic. It's been transformative for me. I needed this, and I want to thank you personally on a personal level, just woman to woman, and you know, for all that you represent and what you've done. And I wish we were here in person with each other, that we could all kind of, you know.
Yeah, we could have a big hug, but we can have a virtual hug.
Virtual hug, everyone.
Virtual hug.
Yes, yes, yes. So I guess we're going to wrap up the meeting unless anybody has anything else they want to add.
Dee, I just wanted to say again how much you inspire all of us, you know, and such a great influence you've had on myself, because when I first met you, I'd just gotten in the business and I'd just gotten the Directors Guild, and you actually inspired me to start acting again. Because I was an actor before I ever got in the Directors Guild as a trainee, and that's how I came out to LA. And I just loved watching you, and you're just so inspirational. You know, you were so inspirational on that stage, you know, in those showcases. And I just wanted to reiterate that and say thank you.
Yeah, I loved those people. I loved them, and it was an honor for me to be able to serve them. So thank you again for bringing that up, Cynthia.
Yeah.
Sure, I'm going to have to redo my makeup now.
We do apologize. We do apologize. And just to let you know, if you can't see the chat, people have been saying this is incredible, beautiful time. Thank you so much, Dee. Thank you. Thank you. Hugs. And
we'll get this to you. We'll figure out, we'll ship this to you or to your agents, or, you know, we'll figure that out.
No. Just email me, or I'll email you and I'll send you my address.
Okay, perfect. Great.
You don't have to go through all that hoopla.
No, okay. We'll do that directly.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, good. And also thank you, Dee, for helping us launch this year's City of Angels Women's Film well, sorry, what's the name of this again? I'm a producer.
remember,
I don't even
Paul.
know the name of it. City of Angels Women's Film Festival, Los Angeles is opening tomorrow. So
Woo!
thank you so much for launching it for us, Dee. Again, sending you lots of love from the other side of the Atlantic. I'm here in London. I'm keeping the home fires burning for you, but again, sending you so much love from this side, and we do appreciate your time. And
Thank
yes,
you.
take
Thank
care of
you all
yourself.
so much and have a beautiful festival, guys.
Thank you so much. We will. Thank you so much.
Big
Bye,
love,
guys.
everyone.
Bye,
Thank you,
guys.
everyone, for coming.
Bye.
Thanks, Dee. Take care. Thank you,
Bye.
everyone.